Everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the topics from chapter number 8, the circulatory system, from the book Concise Biology, class 10th. So let's proceed. Almost all organisms, including humans, have some kinds of fluids containing in the body which circulates in the body. Every organism, including humans also, there is no such organism which is not having any kind of fluid in it, or the organism without fluid in it. All the organisms possess fluids, including humans also. These fluids inside the body, they are having a very essential features. Many fluids constitutes the distributary system as well as the collecting system. Means to say, they distribute certain things in the body and they collect different things from the body. There are certain organs inside the body, whether of organisms or humans, they all need to possess some fluids in it. They all need to transport some essential components which are essential for the regulation of the metabolic activity of the body. So now we will study why is transportation of the different fluids important for the body. So the first topic comes need for the transport inside the body. As we have just studied that there is no organism, including humans, which do not possess any fluid in it. Means to say, every organism, including humans, must possess some kind of fluids inside the body. Every organ in the body requires the involvement of circulating body fluids. For example, the digestive system, whose purpose is to digest and absorb nutrients from the body, these all nutrients need to be transported to every cell of the body. These nutrients are transported to every cell of the body by some specific fluids. These fluids collect the nutrients and transport to the every cell of the body. Similarly, the respiratory system, which is required for drawing air inside, and the oxygen is picked up by the lungs, and that oxygen is to be transported to all parts of the body. This oxygen is required by each and every cell of the body, and after utilizing it, these cells need to produce carbon dioxide. As this carbon dioxide is not necessary for the human activities, it has to be eliminated out. And for the elimination, lungs are again performing the great function for elimination of the carbon dioxide by the breathing process, and it is exhaled out of the body. Here also, we can say that the gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen, needs to be transported, and these carbon dioxide and oxygen gases are transported with the help of some certain fluids in the body. Moving on further, all the extra water, extra salt and extra nitrogenous wastes such as urea, uric acid and ammonia are to be excreted out from the body. And these excretory substances which are to be removed out are eliminated with the help of certain fluids known as water. This part we have studied in the chapter excretory system, how different nitrogenous wastes are eliminated out of the body in the excretory system. Moving on further, hormones are also secreted inside the body by the endocrine system, and these hormones need to be transported throughout the body, and these hormones are transported by the blood. And if the blood circulates, these all hormones are well distributed inside the body. Here, the blood is also acting as a fluid inside the human body. Thus, we can say that different fluids need to be inside the body for performing various activities, and there is no such organism, including humans, which does not possess any fluid in it. A body need to possess fluids in it so that different substances can be circulated in the body. The different type of fluids which are present inside the organism are mainly blood and the lymph. These fluids are the main fluids which transport different essential components inside the organism or the human body. Moving on further, if we further classify the fluids, we can further classify into three types. Earlier we have studied that the fluids are classified into two types, that is blood and lymph, but altogether fluids are classified into three different types. The first one is blood, the second one is lymph, which we have already studied, and the third is tissue fluid. The blood, the purpose of the blood is to transport various gases and other essential components in the organism. Blood contained in the heart and the blood vessels are the part of the circulatory system. The blood vessels are mainly of three kinds: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart, veins carry the blood towards the heart, and exchange of nutrients takes place in the capillaries. Moving on further, tissue fluids are the fluids which are present between the spaces of the cells of the different organs. Moving on further, lymph is a fluid which is contained in the special vessels or organs known as lymph vessels and lymphatic organs. For example, the examples of the lymph vessels or organs are spleen and tonsils. So these organs possess fluids in it which are known as lymph, and the vessels are known as lymph vessels and the organs are known as lymphatic organs. Thus we can say that the organisms contain, especially in human body especially contains three types of fluids, that is blood, tissue fluid and lymph. The diagram given below gives the relationship between the different types of fluids present in the body. The heart, this heart circulates blood. Lymph nodes and lymph organs, they circulate lymph, and lymph is transported into the blood. Tissue fluids, third one is tissue fluid. This fluid present in the spaces of the organs, it is known as tissue fluid, and they are also transported via lymph and blood. Thus we can say that the blood circulates in the human body in the closed manner, and along with blood, lymph and tissue fluid also circulates in the body as a closed manner. Here we can see that it is clear from the diagram that the blood in the body circulates in the closed manner. All the time the blood vessels are in closure to each other. This means that the blood circulation which is in the enclosed manner is called closed blood circulatory system. In certain insects, there is not closed blood circulatory system, while in certain insects, the blood mostly flows through the open spaces in the body, and the circulation in such type of organisms or insects is called open blood circulatory system. Hence, we can say that the blood in human beings is in enclosed circle and we call it as a closed blood circulatory system. As you see in this diagram, the color of the blood is different in the different blood vessels. It's blue and red. Actually, this blue color and red color is given just for the convenience for drawing the diagram. In actually, these two bloods are red in color. Both blood vessels contain the blood which is red in color, but to represent in the diagram, it is represented as a blue color and a red color. The process behind the blue color and the red color is that the red color blood vessels are generally the blood contained in arteries, and the blue color blood is the blood generally which is contained in the veins. The arteries blood is mostly oxygenated, hence in actual manner it is of bright red color, but in diagram it is shown as red. The mostly veins consists of deoxygenated blood, and deoxygenated blood is not brightly red. It looks somewhat bluish if it is looked from the top of the skin. Hence, it is drawn as the blue colored in the veins. Hence, we can say that the arteries and the veins both consist of red blood in actuality, but just to represent in the diagram, the deoxygenated blood is represented as blue color and oxygenated blood is represented as the red color. Moving on further, the non-circulating fluids present inside the body are the fluids which don't circulate with the blood, or they remain at their same position where they are located. The two examples are synovial fluid, which is present at the skeleton joints, and the second example is vitreous humor, which is present in the eyes of the human beings and other organisms. Thus, non-circulating fluids do not circulate and they are always located at their specific position. Moving on further, the properties of the blood are that the blood is never stationary, blood is always in motion, and it always flows from heart to arteries and back through veins. The color of the blood is somewhat reddish and bluish, and it is a thick fluid, and we have already discussed that the blood in the arteries is bright red and the blood in the veins are dark red. Dark red color is represented as blue color in the diagram. The human body possesses 5 to 6 liters of the blood totally in the human body. The taste of the blood is somewhat saltish. If there is a bleeding from the gums, perhaps there is a cut on the tongue, and the person just take the blood through the mouth into the body, it tastes saltish. This shows that the taste of the blood is somewhat saltish. The pH level of the blood is near about 7.3 to 7.45. That is, it is somewhat neutral, neither acidic nor it is alkaline. Moving on further, let's see the functions of the blood. Blood performs two different functions. The first function is transportation and the second function is the protection. Now let's study these functions in detail. The first is transportation of blood. Blood is necessary for the transportation of different substances such as digested foods, oxygen, carbon dioxide, other excretory substances, hormones, etc. Means in detail, if we study the functions of blood, the first function is that it transports the digested food such as glucose, amino acids, vitamins, minerals and salts to the various organs of the body. The second function is the transportation of oxygen. Oxygen is mainly utilized by the body with the help of lungs. Lungs has a capacity to mix or to attach a component known as hemoglobin to the oxygen. When hemoglobin combines with oxygen, it forms oxyhemoglobin. This oxyhemoglobin is transported through the blood to the various parts of the body, to the different organs. Hence we can say that oxygen when combines with hemoglobin, it forms oxyhemoglobin, and this oxyhemoglobin is transported with the help of blood. The hemoglobin carrying oxygen moves on further, and at the specific sites of different organs, this hemoglobin just eliminates oxygen and attaches carbon dioxide to it. And this carbon dioxide attached to the hemoglobin is called carba-aminohemoglobin. This carba-aminohemoglobin, it carries the carbon dioxide and moves on further to the lungs so that this carbon dioxide can be eliminated from the body. Moving on further, blood helps in the transportation of the excretory material. Liver usually forms the excretory material nitrogenous waste. Kidney usually extracted, and skin also usually extracted. So transportation of the blood extracts the different nitrogenous waste from the body. Blood also helps in transporting or distribution of the hormones produced by endocrine glands. Blood also performs its function for the regulation of the body heat by distributing heat uniformly to the body. Moving on further, the second function is protection. The blood forms clot whenever there is a cut in the blood vessel. This formation of a clot helps in prevention of further blood loss, and it also helps in stopping the entry of the disease causing germs. The next function by the blood is it is possessing white blood corpuscles in it, and these white blood corpuscles helps in engulfing the bacteria, means to destroy the bacteria which enters into the body. The third function as a protection is it produces antitoxins and antibodies which neutralizes the poisonous substances or kill the germs which enter the body. Thus we can say that the blood helps in transportation of different materials and for the protection from the different substances